Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit presents Personal Protection Tips. If this is your first voyage to our feature, this is a ongoing series in which we at Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit and Legally Armed in Detroit, we produce and distribute one personal protection and safety tip to our listeners and to our followers to enable them to lead a safer existence not only for themselves and for their families. This feature, this series has been well received. For me personally, it is truly a joy to produce these safety videos. A lot of this stuff I learned from personal experiences and lots of research and consultations with a variety of experts in the field. So, before we go ahead and get started with today's personal protection tip, I just want to pause for station identification. If you enjoy this tip, if you learn something, if you think that there are other people with whom you are connected that could be of benefit to this safety information that we produce on a continuous, regular, ongoing basis, please tell them about it. Please forward this YouTube video. Send the link to all of your family members and to your friends. If you have a newsletter, feel free to publish the link to the video in that newsletter. By all means, please promote this information in your social media, whether it's on your YouTube page, on your Instagram, on your Facebook, LinkedIn, and or Twitter. With your assistance, I can reach more people and I can provide them with this information, and we can make sure that we have a larger, greater pool of informed people who can be made safer. So, let's go ahead and get started with today's tip. Today's tip is to exercise extreme caution when being solicited for donations by panhandlers. If you spend any appreciable amount of time in a heavily populated area, in my case, that is here in Detroit, Michigan, you have certainly seen more than your share of people who are in need, asking for money in high traffic and in some cases physically dangerous locations. We're talking about specific locations such as freeway entrance ramps, freeway exit ramps, gas stations, convenience stores, and of course parking lots. Their apparent plight may, and I know it definitely has happened in my case, pull at your heartstrings and give you the desire to help a person in apparent need, or in some cases, help them get a meal. In truth, on many occasions, I have given money to panhandlers. Yes, I have actually done it, and I don't have any personal prohibition about doing so. You know, if I have some, and let me define it, extra money. During these times, it's kind of hard to define what extra money is. But if I have some cash on me, and there's a person, I look at them and they ask me, and I have it to spare, I will help out. However, when doing so, I keep in mind, and I'm very mindful of a very real risk to my safety could possibly exist when doing so. For example, an apparent panhandler may in fact believe it or not, be a violent criminal seeking to distract you before asking you himself or setting you up to be attacked by another person. In an incident that happened recently, a panhandler at a gas station actually got aggressive and berated me for giving too little in his mind. Before I had to respond, believe it or not, aggressively to inform him that I could not be intimidated or scared into giving more than I had planned based on what I had at hand. If despite, the given situation, the risk of giving money to panhandlers, you still have it within yourself and you still want to do so, as I do on occasion, take a few steps as a precaution. Keep at a relatively safe distance. Have the donation readily accessible. Scan the area for any risk that may exist to your safety. Give the money quickly. Keep your eyes on the panhandler and remove yourself from the scene. Just the other day, I patronized a panhandler. As I was going into the gas station, I saw the person and, I knew that they were probably going to ask. So I said, well, when I get my change from making my purchase, I'll see what I have to spare. And I put aside some money, in a location that I could get to, readily accessible, and where I could give it to the person without even looking at my hands or at my pockets or looking exactly where this money was going to be on my person. This way, when I walked by the person, got close to them, I could give them the money while keeping my eye on the person the entire time. Some people, when I talk about personal protection and personal safety tips, and I talk about potential threats, some people, might be very quick to call me paranoid or, a little too guarded, but that's the world we live in. If you've received nothing else from this personal protection tip, I want you to get this. And this is the key theme and the key message. There are folks who are economically less off than we are or you are. And if you want to support them, do so. If you are concerned about your safety, then don't. I myself, I fall in that path, that place somewhere in between on the spectrum. I give panhandlers money. I make my decision based on just my gut, and I've been right thus far, but I'm aware of the fact that there are risks involved. I believe to be prudent decisions. I don't want my safety conscious to be at so high a level that I don't have compassion and the willingness to help other people. But I'm a realist, and as a former crime victim, I know that bad things can happen. So if anything, what I want you to do, what I think would be prudent for you to do, is to think this matter over before it happens. Before you get put into that situation, make a decision as to how you're going to handle it, and just be consistent and follow through. More importantly, more than anything else, be safe. This has been another personal protection tip from Rick Ector at Legally Armed in Detroit and at Personal Protection Tips.